Yeah, I mean, I think we're living now in a world, and Heroes is very much right in the kind of crosshairs of what is a very new paradigm for the way we're looking at what constitutes success on a show. We now have to look at all of the various platforms that a show like Heroes is being experienced in. And this was the whole concept of the transmedia, was to create, just to sort of lay a kind of a definition of what this is, or at least in my mind. Transmedia is just a term that I use. I don't know who coined it. I heard it somewhere.
I think you did.
Yeah, okay, I coined it. To really describe the idea of reaching across multiple platforms to tell story. And it all drives, for Heroes, it all drives off of this very deep mythology, this very deep well of narrative that we create on the mothership of the show. And we sort of look at the show as the hub from which you have hundreds of different tentacles that can spread and go in different directions. You used to think about storytelling sort of on this tabletop as being a kind of a flat two-dimensional thing. You can go that way or you can go that way. With the idea of transmedia storytelling, of reaching people wherever they are, whether that's on the internet or an email or on their cell phones, it now gives you a way of looking at an intellectual property as a completely 360-degree world that you can immerse yourself in. You can go that way, and you can go that way, and you can go that way, and you can go that way. And then the really, what I think is the most exciting part of the whole idea of a transmedia world is when the tentacles start to feed off of one another and feed to one another. In other words, we often will create a character online that has a story online and a whole series of you know, web adventures and you know, portals rabbit holes that you go down. And that character will live online for a while and then eventually cross on to the mothership of the show. And it's incredibly exciting for anybody who's following that to suddenly see this character that they know all about suddenly show up on the show. And we do that vice versa. When story ends on the show, it can live on forever on online. And the idea is, there are two main ideas behind this. One is the sort of this idea that a show like Heroes has a very large canon or mythology, that everything that feeds off of it has to feed and fold back to and add to the canon of the show. In other words, if we sell a piece of merchandising, if we sell a sword that a replica of the sword that Hiro Nakamura uses on our show, on the back of the box that we sell that sword in is some piece of some bit of content about the history of that sword and the history of how that sword got here that feeds onto the canon of the show that we can then use. So it's this idea of using every part of the buffalo, you know, you gotta use every part of the body, and then looking at it as a way of monetizing every part of the body. And so those are kind of the linchpins of